പകിട പലകേലി വേണല്ലോ. ഇനി കളിക്കാണ്ട് എങ്ങനെയാ പോവാ?
Ideology is generally defined as a worldview, a set of ideas and concepts that we use to make sense of the world we live in. Our worldview, however, may not always be a true reflection of reality, as the ideas we use to make sense of it are often products of the culture we live in. Karl Marx points this out in his book The German Ideology, where he calls the work of ideology as being similar to that of a camera obscura, a pinhole camera that produces upside-down images of the original. From the very start of the movie, we are told that the mansion is filled with illusions. These illusions operate as the ideological structure that upholds the power of the Chatan, much like how illusions in our society uphold the caste structure. Illusions such as one of the key ways oppressive structures are sustained is through ideological indoctrination of the oppressed that their oppression is natural and that there is no alternative.
There is no alternative.
In the context of the film, Poti, or the Chatan, routinely takes away the agency of Thevan and obscures his own control over the situation through the concept of fate, portraying as if everything is predetermined and natural, while in reality, Thevan is caught in the web of lies weaved by the Chatan. We see three major instances of this, and in each instance, we see Thevan's hope for freedom gradually disappearing. The very first instance of fate as an ideological illusion also answers another widely discussed question regarding the role of the Yakshi that we see in a mere 2 scenes in the movie. While some have seen this as a tidbit thrown in for world building, the Yakshi's presence also hints us towards the cunning of the Chatan. It is due to the Yakshi that Thevan ends up in the mansion, and later on we learn that the Yakshi is either controlled by or is in alliance with the Chatan. However, when his arrival to the mansion is discussed, Chatan loudly declares that it is fate that Thevan ended up there. The second instance of fate as ideology is in the game of Pagadi. In fact, in this scene, the Chatan himself hints at his control over the situation, as if to sneer at the powerlessness of Thevan. Chatan did not use his brains, of course. He used his power, his tricks and lies. But the Chatan remarks that Pagadi is determined by fate, once again obscuring his control over Thevan's life and making the events appear uncontrollable and unchangeable. Finally, we see the most powerful and intimidating means used by the Chatan to convince Thevan of the predetermined nature of his enslavement through the eternal reign. A literal force of nature that stops Thevan from getting out of his cage. But it again, the reign is not the work of nature, but instead is the work of the Chatan. Yet again, fate as an ideology obscures the control and the real nature of the oppressor from the eyes of the oppressed. In each of these instances, we see Thevan slowly give up hope as he is led to believe slavery to be his destiny. This is further accentuated as the initially unconventional Chatan begins to turn into a conventional one.
കൂത്തുകാരനായാൽ കൂത്തു പറയാൻ അറിയണം, പാട്ടുകാരനായാൽ പാടണം. അതിന് പറ്റില്ലാച്ചാൽ ഭൂമിക്ക് ഭാരമായി ജീവിക്കരുത്.
The welcoming embrace of the non-casteist Chatan slowly turns back into the cold grasp of casteism. In this, we see that notions such as karma and dharma, utilized to uphold the caste hierarchy, are practiced only insofar as it benefits the oppressor. Caste can be ignored when there is a benefit for the oppressor, but it must be established again when that benefit is gone. Ultimately, what matters is not your karma or dharma, but the power to control the world and in whose hand that power lies. However, an ideological structure that obscures reality can only be as strong as its lies. When the oppressed see through the lies, resistance and conflict begins. Even against an all-consuming ideological structure, all hope is not lost. As the lies of the Chatan are slowly unraveled, Tevan begins his attempt to take control of his life. What begins as a curiosity to understand leads to the courage to fight. But escape seems impossible and resistance unbearably painful. However, hope is found again, not in isolation but in solidarity between the oppressed. The cook tears down the ideological structure, demystifying and teaching Tevan about the real nature of his oppression. After this, Tevan reaches both his highest and lowest points in the film. In his highest point, Tevan is courageous enough to face the Chatan alone and make himself the bait in order to obtain the keys to his freedom, literally.
എന്റെ സ്വാതന്ത്ര്യത്തിന്റെ താക്കോൽ തമ്പുരാന്റെ കയ്യിലല്ലേ? അതാ ഞാൻ ഉദ്ദേശിച്ചേ. കളി ജയിച്ചിരുന്നെങ്കിൽ എനിക്ക് പോവാലോ.
However, he also soon finds himself at his lowest point, lost of all hope when he realizes the betrayal by the cook. This bleak moment eventually lends itself to the bleakest moment in the movie, in the climactic battle where the oppressed fight and kill each other rather than stand together. In the struggle against oppression in the real world, the most terrifying is not the struggle itself, but the betrayal of the struggle by the one who is supposed to stand with you. However, oppressive structures may arise in society over and over again, but the human spirit will also keep fighting for its freedom over and over again. This is Surjit signing off. Till next time.